Happy Tuesday. Well, today's rest day, and I'm gonna enjoy it because I do feel a little, not really so, I don't really feel beat down or totally beat up, but my legs are a little sore, and I just know that, excuse me, performance-wise, I train and run the next 2 days in a row. So I get up 4 o'clock, I do strides, and then I work out later on in the morning. I have back and arms tomorrow, and then legs again on Thursday. So I need my rest. So, don't have a rest day till Friday, and the next 2 days are actually very grueling. The Thursday morning run is usually, once I get warmed up, I'm good, but it's just getting up and getting started after you ran the day before, and your body really is under a lot of stress and is still recovering from the run that I do. So it is what it is. That's my schedule, and I'm sticking with it. It worked out last week. As I said before, I didn't hit the weight goal that I wanted to hit, but sometimes it's like that, and you just have to stick to the program, because you're gonna have a plateau sometimes, or maybe you ate a little bit too much, but just stick with it. So I would consider myself a big eater. I have a pretty big appetite, especially in the evening hours. That's why I decided a couple years ago that when I fast, I was going to fast in the evening hours, because that was based on the trends. I was eating more in the evening time. So I thought I'd give, I've talked about this before, but I thought I'd give people an idea that they could use. Okay, so when I did this before, I was eliminating carbohydrates greatly. So I don't recommend that you eliminate carbohydrates, but I do feel like this system worked well for me, so I think it'll work well for you. And what I did was I would eat 150 grams of food every hour on the hour. So it took, a tremendous amount of preparation, but the thing about it is that I never felt hungry throughout the day, and that I could always go into my fast without eating a large volume of food per day. Sometimes it'd be, let's just say my eating window was 10 hours. A lot of the time it was 8 or 9 hours, but let's just say that my eating window was 10 hours. Then I knew that, all that I had to eat that day food-wise was 1,500 grams of food, which is a little over 3 pounds. So it made the amount of food measurable, which made it a lot easier to gauge whether I was losing body fat or not. And like I said, the thing about eating every hour on the hour is that you're never hungry. I gave myself just enough food to where, I didn't get hungry, and I didn't, go crazy and start binging and doing all these other crazy things that would, destroy my diet and destroy my weight loss. And now for you, it may be 100 grams. It may be 75 grams. It may be 200 grams for you, and then you have to work it down. It may be 250 grams. Obviously we're counting our calories. Obviously we're counting our macros. So what I'm doing now is I'm not doing the same thing, but on certain days I do. On my rest days I do this. And what I'll do is, you have to have some carbohydrates. Not a lot on your rest days, but you have to have some. And so what I'll do is I'll cut up apples, I'll cut up pineapple, I'll cut up all these different things, broccoli, whatever it is that I feel like having, throughout the day. Beans, couscous, quinoa, things like that, in these 150 gram portions. And then when I want to have my carbs in the middle of the day, I will have those meals that have the carbs with it already, macros already accounted for, and then I'll slide those in there throughout the day. And then as the day pushes on, it moves, vegetable protein as the day goes on, eliminating the sugars. I'll have my fruits earlier in the day, and I'll have the carbohydrates, the complex carbohydrates, earlier in the day. And then as the day moves on, then it just moves into beans, proteins, and vegetables. So then at night, when I'm getting closer to going to bed, my insulin levels aren't spiking. So I'm burning fat. And as I said, the most important thing is that you're able to measure how much food volume you're taking in, because a lot of people don't pay attention to food volume, you know, and then they start freaking out when the scale, you know, is up the next day. Well, maybe you just didn't, you know, breathe out the you know, enough. Maybe you didn't breathe enough to get a lot of that weight out of the food that you ate. Plus, another thing that I like about eating that way is the thermic effect of food. You know, when you eat, your body's metabolizing the food, so you're constantly, your system is constantly working. Well, at the times where you're not, you know, where your insulin's not high, your body's burning calories not only in that food, but but fat stores as well, to metabolize that food, especially if you're eating protein, high protein. You know, when you're eating high protein, the thermic effect of food on protein is like, you know, each gram of protein is 4 pounds. They say that it's closer to 3 pounds because of the thermic effect of food. The fact that your body has to work so hard to digest and metabolize proteins that in the end, the calorie intake isn't what it shows on Nutrition Facts or MyFitnessPal.com or any of that stuff, because your body's working so hard to metabolize it. So that's another thing to keep in mind too. But as I said before, if you're a big eater, you know, try this. You know, 100, like I said, I was doing 150 grams per hour on the hour, only during the eating window. When the eating window's over, I'm done eating, because I want to go to bed, you know, not necessarily totally empty, but I want to go to bed, you know, in a position where, you know, I'm very close to the food that's in my system that I ate several hours before is totally metabolized, and my body can go into fat burning stage overnight. I loved that. You know, it's just a great feeling knowing that every night when you go to bed, your body's burning fat, you know, and you're gonna wake up lighter the next day. I love that. And part of that process is doing implementing this tool that I'm telling you about, of eating a specific amount of food, a measured amount of food every hour on the hour, and so you know exactly how much food you're intaking. As I said before, you have to watch the carbohydrates, obviously, because we're endomorphs. You have to watch the carbohydrates, and you have to limit the sugars and the carbohydrates as the day moves on into the evening hours, because we want to be burning fat. Okay, you know, that's what this is all about. Remember, lean, chiseled physique. That's what we're looking for here. If you're not looking for a lean, chiseled physique as an endomorph, bye. Happy Tuesday.